right, so the purpose of this video is just to help you get the most out of the free trial that you signed up for. We recommend using the free trial to get an understanding of some of the basic functionality as well as experience how user-friendly the software is. We don't recommend attempting to use the free trial to learn everything about ShiftCare just by clicking around. That would be impossible and incredibly time-consuming. So if you're looking to understand the features and functionality, as well as how we've helped thousands of businesses in the care industry save time and money by streamlining their day-to-day operations, I definitely recommend booking a call with a member of our team. They can walk you through a demo and get you all the answers you might be looking for. So when you first start your free trial account, you might get asked a couple questions at first, like what country you're in or how many staff members you have, stuff like that. You'll just fill that out, but you'll ultimately land here on the scheduler. Obviously, there's not much going on in here right now. We're going to change that in a moment. But you can see there's some default settings set up here in ShiftCare. Some of that can be adjusted. We'll get into that a little bit more. But to start, I have my own name here populated because I am a staff member. So I can see my staff member schedule, and then I can flip that over to my client schedule, and you'll see we already have a sample in there for you. So that's what you're going to start with. One of the first things I recommend doing is adding in a couple staff members and clients to go ahead and kind of get a better feel for the platform when some people are actually in there. You can always, if you do choose to sign up for ShiftCare, you can always go back and archive them. So whether you want to choose to use a couple fake names or something like that, just to get a feel for it, or if you want to use your real staff and clients, you're more than welcome to. But I could just quickly add care worker right here. We'll do Bobby Fisher. We'll just punch him in there. We have him as a care. Oh, we got to add his email in. There you go. It's already telling me. We'll say bobby@fisher.com. So we got him added in here. If I wanted to, I can always hit add care, but if I wanted to go ahead to a list, it's going to populate Bobby, and then it's got me. And if I wanted to add another staff member, I could go ahead and do that. We'll do Davy Jones. Can't type today. And so we'll create him. All right, so now we have a couple staff members. You'll see this is what a staff profile starts to look like. There's a lot more that can be done here. We'll come back to that. We're just trying to get a feel for the scheduler for now. So now I have a couple staff members that I can work with. And if I want to go ahead and add a couple clients as well, we could do that. So right now, all it's got is my sample client, but let's go ahead and add a couple in. Let's do classic Joe Smith. You can see, just like the staff, we have full-blown client profiles here where you can upload documents, things like that. We'll come back to it, but we'll just go ahead and add another client in here so we have a couple to choose from when we're filling out the scheduler. And so it asks for a bunch of demographic information. We're just skipping all that. All right, so a couple of just random names. I don't know why David Blaine came to mind. Magician, if you like magic. But here we have a couple staff members. I can go ahead and switch over to that client view. Gives me a few clients, David, Joe, and our sample client here. So now I have some stuff to work with. So let's go ahead and practice scheduling a couple shifts. So if these clients, if I wanted to schedule a shift for them, let's take Joe Smith, for example, I can go ahead and just hit this add shift button here, and I can start to fill out information. If I wanted to speed up that process and add a little automation here, let's say I wanted to schedule a shift for the 16th for Joe Smith, I can go ahead and just hit that button, or hit that spot right there, excuse me, and now it's going to automatically populate Joe Smith. I go ahead and select the shift type. These can be customized, but we'll stick with personal care. date automatically populates, as well as I can select the time. So let's make it a 9 a.m. to, we'll say, 11 a.m. shift. The address we'll want to get in there, but then I can select who I want to take the shift. We'll make it me. You'll probably want to make it yourself most of the time while testing out. That way you could see it in the mobile app. I'll show you how to get the mobile app started as well. But let's go ahead and add an instruction, maybe like a gate code. 1, 2, 3, 4. And if I click advanced edit here, it's going to give me a couple more options. So I can even go ahead and add some tasks. So let's say clean the kitchen, add that task. If you do more of the skilled work, maybe you do not clean, you do check client's vitals. So we can go ahead and add those tasks in. We got our instructions in here. There's a lot more that can be done here, but we're just looking to get a feel. And you'll see, there goes my shift. It populates here on the scheduler. I can see how many hours this client has scheduled for the week of care. And if I actually switch over to my staff view, it's going to show me how many hours I have scheduled for the week as well. So pretty easy and simple as far as scheduling another shift. So I can also schedule reoccurring shifts if, let's say, David Blaine here, maybe he gets care, we'll say, every Wednesday from 9 a.m. or from 10 a.m. to, we'll say, 1 p.m. maybe. 1 p.m. and we wanted to make that repeating. We go ahead and hit repeat. It's repeating weekly, and we'll make it every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday, let's say. And then I could go ahead and even push out that date. So I could push it out to, let's say, the end of September. So if I wanted to schedule from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. every Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday until the end of September, I could go ahead and get that scheduled out. I can add one of my care workers. You'll actually notice that I'm blocked out. Matt McCann is blocked out. That's because I had scheduled that previous shift for Joe Smith. So it's not going to allow me to double book. So either I got to select somebody else, or maybe I don't know who's going to work the shift yet. That's where maybe the job board comes into play. We won't do that quite yet. I'll show you how to do that in a moment. But I'll just go ahead and click save. And you'll see now I have all these reoccurring shifts scheduled out. You'll notice that these are red. These shifts are red because no staff has been selected yet. So ShiftCare is letting us know we got to go ahead and assign staff members to those particular shifts. But if I switch my scheduler view over to a 2-week view, and we have monthly views that can be seen in the staff and client profiles as well if you wanted a full monthly view. But I could break this out into 2 weeks, and you'll see that the shifts are continued to be scheduled out all the way through September as well. Switch that back over to weekly. So I've got my standard shift. I've got my reoccurring shift. Now let's go ahead and push one out to the job board. So let's say we were scheduling a shift here for Mr. Sample for Thursday the 17th. We're going to go ahead and schedule that out. We'll say it's a 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. shift. But then what we're going to do is, let's say we don't have a worker available, or we weren't sure who was going to work it. What we could do is we could push it out to the job board. And so by pushing the shift out to the job board, it's an internal job board. So it'll notify all of your care workers through the mobile app that that shift is available and that they could go ahead and take it. So you can have it pushed out to all your staff, or we also have a Teams feature where you can make different groups of teams, whether it's based on skill sets or certifications or geographical location or something like that. I see that used a lot of different ways, but you can push it out to a certain group of staff members, maybe staff members that always work with that particular client, or your entire staff. And you can set it to require approval or approve automatically. But when we go ahead and push it out to the job board, you'll see this populates in purple. And now I can actually filter out, just to give you a little bit of an idea of what the scheduler can do. So I can actually filter out the shifts as well. So if I wanted to see all my pending shifts, here's my pending ones. And then if I want to see anything that's been booked, it's going to show me that one shift that's been booked. So I can search by status basically. So hopefully you're already starting to get a feel for what the system can do. Just a basic understanding. If I switch over to the staff view, you'll see it kind of switches things around a little bit, shows me all the vacant shifts at the top, shows me the job board, shows me this shift that's been scheduled, just so we could see a couple more in here. I'm actually going to schedule out one more. We'll make the client David Blaine. This is all good. And we'll just go ahead and save that. And so now the next thing you'll probably want to do after you've scheduled a couple shifts and you've added a couple clients and staff in is maybe go check out like the staff and client profiles. So if I go into the client list, I go get a little bit of an understanding of what's going on in here. So if we click on Joe Smith, we can actually see. So it starts out with the demographic information, but once you've added them in, you can add a lot more. So you can add some public information. You can create different headings to add in here as well. So if I wanted to edit this, maybe it's some kind of allergies that the particular client has, like let's say allergic to, and we'll make it peanut butter. We'll say he also has some pets. Maybe we want to add something in about their current condition. But all of that can be added in here and can be updated. So we can go ahead and add that in. You'll see it doesn't really format. Once you save it, it kind of looks like this, but then it'll format in the mobile app, which I'll show you what the mobile app looks like in a moment. But here I can also upload any kind of documents. So if I go ahead and click view all here, it's going to give me the option to upload a client's document, whether it's care plan or something like that. You can add expiration dates as well. If you're going to go ahead and review those types of documents, you can see where it'll show expired documents and things like that. So you'll be able to go into the client's profile as well as any kind of notes. So if I go to communications here, it gives me the option to add certain notes. If I wanted to make those notes private, so none of the staff members can view it in the mobile app, I could go ahead and make it a private note, but I could add something in as well that will tie to Mr. Joe Smith here. And I can even add a little private info in here. This is a pretty unique feature where I come over here and maybe I say something like client is particularly hefty. You can even add a review date in on that. So maybe I just want to add some private info in here on a particular client. That actually can be very helpful because if I go back to my scheduler, you'll actually notice that when I go to my clients, it's going to show that note that I just added. So if I actually hover over, it's going to say client is particularly hefty. Now I might be able to use that when scheduling. I'll be able to like pair up a staff member with this particular client in order to provide the best type of care. Maybe somebody that can help them off the couch or out of bed, things like that. But the same way we can add different documents and things like that for our clients, we can also do that for staff. So let's go check out a staff profile. So if I go in and take a look at my staff, we'll say, we'll go with Davy Jones here. So Davy Jones, you'll notice the demographic information, same type of thing here. I can also add documents in here as well that I can add expiration dates on. If I click documents here, it's going to populate that page that you saw with the clients where maybe I can add certain certifications or their driver's license, their onboarding documents, their car insurance, different items that you're going to store on the staff members. You can go ahead and add them in here. You can also add reminders as well. So if their driver's license is expiring or a certification is expiring, you could set reminders that'll remind both you as well as the staff member if the document is going to expire or needs to be updated or something like that. So you get profiles for both your staff and your clients. If we just go back in there and take one more look, you can also down here on the bottom add any kind of private info. This won't populate anywhere. It'll just be a place for you to have notes on particular staff members. Some of the clients I work with maybe have a 3-strike rule or things like that. You can also come over here to communications, and the same way you can for clients, you can add notes on different staff members as well, and you can make those private as well so they can't be seen by anyone. And you can manage the different permissions in ShiftCare. That's kind of getting a little too far into the weeds for the purpose of this, but you can manage there's a bunch of different roles, and that comes into play when we actually go in and we add our staff members here. So if I click add staff, you'll notice the role either allows you to add a carer or an office user, and then we have some different permissions that are associated with each of these. In addition, you can actually see in the document hub. The document hub is where you can upload documents. Usually I see like employee handbooks or policies and procedures. That type of documentation can be uploaded here in the document hub. That's for all of your staff to be able to see in the mobile app versus like a driver's license. Only one staff member, whoever's driver's license it is going to be able to see it in their mobile app. But this is where you can upload files for everyone to be able to see. So maybe some additional learning or policies and procedures, employee handbook, like I was saying, things like that. All right, so we've now looked at how to schedule a couple shifts, what can be done as far as a staff profile. We have a couple clients in there. The next piece is going to be getting started with the mobile app. So what you'll want to do is you want to go to your app store and just search ShiftCare. It'll be one of the first ones that pops up. Just make sure it has this logo here. And then you'll go ahead and you'll go and you'll download the mobile app. And then we can go ahead and just open that up. And then it's going to ask me for a username and password. So I'm just going to pause. And so I was able to sign right into, I just used the password that I used to create this account, and it instantly brings me straight to the mobile app where now I can see my schedule. I can see any notifications that have been sent. I can see my schedule. You'll see a couple of the shifts that are on here that are assigned to me, this one and this one, then populate here in the scheduler. So I can go ahead and see those different shifts, as well as I could view the job board. So when I go to the job board, I see this shift for the 17th that I could go ahead and potentially claim that shift. If I go back and I go to my schedule and I go ahead and view here, usually there's going to be a map of the destination. I don't have a location in here at the moment, but you'll be able to add an address in and everything. And your staff members will actually be able to go ahead and click that, and it'll populate Apple Maps or Google Maps and give them the opportunity to get directions. But any instructions associated with the shift are going to populate here as well. Here's that gate code. And so you'll have the opportunity to just play around. Here are the different tasks that can be checked off, as well as they can go ahead and attempt to clock in and out of the shift, as well as add any kind of notes here. So I can add a progress note. Let's go ahead and add a note. I can upload an image for it, but I can add a note. So just kind of a example of what can be done here. So notes can be added. This obviously is not all the functionality that you're going to find, but here's any kind of documents. So any kind of documents that are specific to that staff member will be here. Anything in the document hub will be here. And then in addition to that, they can turn on shift notifications as well. So that's just a brief overview. If you're playing around in the mobile app, that'll give you an idea. So before I show you how to actually clock in and out of a shift, I figured I'd come back. I went in, added an actual address so you can see what it looks like, as well as we have that client information that I want to show. So that's what the map looks like. You can see I'm here in New York. If I go ahead and were to click on this map, it's going to give me directions from where I am on the Upper East Side to this particular address, which Joe Smith, our client, is going to be. In addition to that, you saw how I was able to add the progress notes by clicking progress down here, as well as how I was able to check off the tasks. But what I also wanted to show was if I actually click on Joe's name here, that's where we're going to see that information that populated here from the client's profile. So when we go into the client's profile, that's where that public information shows up so that our staff members can then see certain information that needs to be transferred over, as well as those documents that you add in here. You have the ability to make them visible to staff. And when you make them visible to staff, if you don't make them visible to staff, it won't populate. But if you made it visible, it would populate here under documents. So just wanted to make sure I showed that. All right, so another thing you might want to do is you might want to just clock in and out of a shift so you can see what that experience looks like. It'll also allow you to play with timesheets. So I went ahead and changed this shift to around my time. I know it's pretty late over here, but I would go ahead in the mobile app and just clock in for that shift. And now it gives me the option to clock out. And if I actually go and I click on this shift, you'll notice it's going to show that I've actually started the shift, that I went ahead and clocked in. I am 4 minutes late, but that's okay. So I can go ahead and clock in for the shift as well as I can then clock out if I wanted to. So I'll actually go ahead and do that. So go ahead and clock out of the shift. If I click on it again, it reloads, and now it actually shows in real time that I've clocked out of the shift. So now that I've clocked in and out of a shift, the next thing I'll probably want to do is go check out the timesheet report. So if I want to see someone's timesheet, I could either go to a full timesheet report, or I could just go to that staff member and go and look at their timesheet. But we'll click on an entire timesheet report here. And so I'll be able to see everyone's hours that they've worked. If I wanted to get a little more insight, I can actually click in here. And when I click in, it's going to show me, you can actually see on this shift, it shows me the tasks that were completed as well as any notes that were submitted. So that can be pretty helpful when it comes to actually going about and approving the shift. So you'll see that it shows right here, it's going to show the actual clock in and clock out that you saw versus the scheduled time is going to populate on the left while the others are on the right. But then I can go ahead and I can actually edit this. If let's say it was inaccurate for some reason, I could go ahead and edit it on my end as an administrator, or I can go ahead and just go ahead and approve it. So we'll go ahead and approve that shift. And so now that the shift's been approved, I could actually even I could export the information out. So maybe I want to export everything out of ShiftCare. I could do that. We won't get into those details. We do have a couple of different payroll integrations. I definitely recommend booking a call and asking about it, depending on who your payroll provider is. But in addition to viewing the timesheet, I can actually generate an invoice as well. So if I wanted to go ahead and generate an invoice, I would just come over to generate. And it's going to give you the option to generate an invoice for Joe Smith here. So I can go ahead and click this. Click generate. You'll see the total cost is about 50 cents. So not much at all. But it just takes a second to generate the invoice. Get that nice satisfying line. And then when I click, it produces an invoice. So I can see an invoice for Joe Smith, and I can actually send it straight to his email. If I had his email in here, I could print it out if I needed to. So pretty easy and simple. There's a lot that can be done around invoicing. We have an entire invoice settings part of the platform. As I was mentioning, along with those invoice settings that you can play around with. The settings in general, there's quite a lot that can be done. What I showed you was a very basic version of how to just play around in ShiftCare. Definitely recommend booking a demo to understand more. But these account settings, this is where you can add different headings for the client information that was populating, that shows in the mobile app, as well as the different note headings for the progress notes and things like that. You can go ahead and edit the shift types, as well as you can play around with the scheduler. You can play around with the time and attendance settings. We have clock in location check that can be turned on. So that's essentially visit verification in the sense that the staff members won't actually be able to clock in and out of the shift unless they're actually at the location, at the address that the shift is booked for. So that's getting a little more into the weeds of what can be done here. You can play around with the different document titles and headings and things like that. So definitely recommend booking a demo to find out more of what can be done, setting reminders and things like that. If you're looking to find out how to actually sign up for ShiftCare, you can either just hit this subscription button, or if you're in your free trial and you click upgrade now, it'll take you to that subscription tab automatically. And then here you'll be able to see the different plans that we have: pay monthly, pay annually. And at that point, all you need to do is just hit select this plan. It'll ask you how many staff members you have. You'll add your staff in. And then it's going to ask you for payment information, which you'll input, and then go ahead and click subscribe. If you want more details about the different plans and the pricing, there should be a link on this page that will allow you to get a little more insight into the pricing and how it's all laid out. As well as if you get on a call with somebody, they can walk you through what might be the best plan or best fit for you, based on the functionality you're looking for, and what you might be working with from a funding standpoint. So hopefully this was really helpful. Remember, the free trial is just a chance for you to get a little bit of practice in the software, get an understanding of some of the basic functionality, as well as being able to see how user-friendly the platform is. So feel free to reach out with any questions, but enjoy.